Vanessa Trump shocked everyone with her stunning transformation after her divorce from Don Jr., leaving the world in awe of how she reinvented herself. Once known for her marriage to Don Jr. and their family life, their divorce became the turning point for her transformation. Fast forward to the 2025 inauguration, and Vanessa's glow-up stole the show, showing the world just how much she had blossomed into a new version of herself. Keep watching to find out what sparked this incredible change inside Vanessa's world. It all starts on the Upper East Side of Manhattan in Vanessa Trump's story. It wasn't just any neighborhood, it was a universe full of power, desire, and new ideas. Imagine growing up in a city with tall buildings, fancy shops, and people who are always trying to reach their next big goal. Vanessa was right in the middle of everything. Her mother, Bonnie Hayden, was a good role model. Her dad, Charles Hayden, was a very successful lawyer. Vanessa learned how important it is to be smart and pretty as she grew up. But her story had more to say. Vanessa's family tree was bigger than the bright streets of Manhattan. Her family came from Sweden and Denmark, which gave her a Scandinavian look. Not just any man, her grandfather was a jazz musician who filled rooms with smooth tunes and familiar rhythms. That musical background added another level of depth to her already vivid past. The mix of skills and countries made Vanessa into a person with both grace and toughness. Vanessa didn't just fit in at school, she stood out. She went to the well-known Dwight School, which makes smart kids. But Vanessa wasn't just a book person. She was very competitive, especially when she was playing tennis. When she holds a racket, she might be a force to be reckoned with. Her drive and passion made her a one-of-a-kind athlete, and she showed early on that she wasn't afraid to push herself. However, Vanessa was interested in many things besides sports. After high school, she began her journey into psychology at Marymount College. She was interested in what made people think the way they did. Still, she had more on her plate than just studying. Vanessa was also making news in the fashion world. Her striking good looks and natural grace made major modeling agencies want to hire her right away. She first signed with Wilhelmina Models and then with Next Model Management. That was the start of something big, not just a fun thing to do. Vanessa began to walk down the catwalk and pose for pictures. But she wasn't okay with just one road. Vanessa picked up the phone when Hollywood called her. From 2003 to 2004, she had a small part in the romantic comedy Something's Gotta Give, which also starred Jack Nicholson, Diane Keaton, and other famous actors. It opened up the world of performance arts for her and gave her another chance to shine. She was always looking for her next trip and wasn't afraid to try new things. But Vanessa did more than just glitter and gloss. She was also very good at business. She bravely joined the party scene at the start of the 2000s. The cool kids in town would hang out at Sessa, the cool new bar she helped open. Especially for someone so young, it was a brave thing to do. Even though it didn't last long, the club wasn't a tragedy. It showed that Vanessa was brave to go out on her own. She didn't just want to be famous, she wanted to make something of her own. Last but not least, there were her ties. People were interested in both Vanessa's job and her personal life. Before she became Trump, there were reports that she was seeing famous people. Talk that got a lot of attention? A one-night stand with Leonardo DiCaprio. In fact, Leonardo. The facts stayed private, but the link made her story even more interesting than it already was. From a young age, Vanessa was never just one thing. She played sports, went to school, modeled, acted, and ran her own business. Everything she did helped her become the woman she would become. It was a fancy path she took, but it showed her drive and determination. But Vanessa's story was only getting started, because soon her path would cross with a man who would change everything. And once their worlds collided, nothing would ever be the same. Vanessa and Don Jr.'s fairy tale marriage. It began in 2003. Who set it up? Not anyone else but Donald Trump. Not anyone else. Imagine a high-class fashion show where cameras and bright lights are everywhere. In the middle of all that, Vanessa ran into Don Jr. But their first meeting? Not quite smooth. Donald Trump brought them to Vanessa, who wasn't very interested. It was short, embarrassing, and easy to forget, but fate wasn't done with them yet. Not long after that, they ran into each other again, this time at a birthday party. After that, the sparks flew. Outside of the cameras and the stress, Don Jr. showed a different side. Lovely, funny, and determined. Vanessa started to think about him in a different way, and things moved quickly after that evening. By 2004, it was clear that they could not be separated. They went to events and public performances together, and soon everyone was talking about them all the time. More people were interested in their connection than in Trump's name alone. It sounds like they would go well together. Then the offer came along. Naturally, though, their story wasn't like most. Don Jr. asked the question in 2004, but he did it in a different way. He bought more than just a diamond ring. It was free for him to get. Yes, free. A jewelry company gave him a huge diamond in exchange for a lot of attention. Vanessa also wore a beautiful engagement ring, which gave the news outlets another Trump story to write about. Their marriage was just as great. That November 12, 2005, they said "I do" at Mar-a-Lago, the fancy Florida property owned by the Trump family. It wasn't a small, quiet service, it was a show. On the guest list were the names of famous people, socialites, and big companies. A handmade Reem Acra dress made just for Vanessa made her look stunningly beautiful. Also, Don Jr. He did a great job coming across as the happy groom. For a split second, it really did look like a fairy tale as people cheered and cameras flashed. But the fairy tale went on after that. Over the next 10 years, their family grew very quickly. 5 times they had one child after the other. Vanessa seems to be naturally happy to be a mom. From family trips to Christmas shots, they made their lives look perfect. On social media, too, everything looked great. Happy kids, a couple deeply in love, and smiling faces. But they weren't a secret family. When Donald Trump decided to run for president in 2015, they got a lot more attention. Vanessa was there with Don Jr. to help him run for office for his dad. On their program were rallies, public speaking, and shaking hands. The world saw them as the perfect power couple, hot, stylish, and determined. Things were not always as perfect as they seemed behind closed doors. For now, though, the world only saw the polished version, the happy family, the loving wife, and the devoted son who would carry on Trump's name. But what really happened behind those picture-perfect smiles? And how did a love story that started under the spotlight begin to unravel? Things were about to take a turn no one expected. The struggles in the fairy tale. At first glance, Vanessa and Don Jr.'s lives seemed perfect. They had big smiles, fancy parties, and a growing family. Even though they looked nice, things were not as smooth as they seemed. As time went on, the fairy tale began to fall apart and cracks began to show. Money is a major cause of violence. Even though the name Trump was linked to wealth, disagreements over money led to fights. Don Jr. was always working to make the family wealth grow, and he was very smart about money. Vanessa, on the other hand, was busy upbringing their 5 kids. Few things that were important to both of them caused them to move apart. Then politics came along. When Donald Trump began running for president in 2015, Don Jr. got deeply involved in politics. Every day they had to work long hours, move a lot, and deal with media scrutiny. Vanessa, on the other hand, kept her attention on housework. Taking care of a family of 5 kids wasn't easy. The emotional link that had seemed normal started to fade as they got farther apart. That wasn't the end of the gaps either. Rumors that she is cheating on him hurt their marriage a lot. The most upsetting is that Don Jr. is said to be having an affair with singer Aubrey O'Day. There were reports that Don Jr. had stayed close to Aubrey while she was on The Celebrity Apprentice in 2011, when Vanessa was expecting their 3rd child. It was said that their relationship went beyond friendship and was deep and intense. It all changed when Vanessa found out about the affair. Their friendship became weaker as trust broke down. Even though it looks like Don Jr. broke up with Aubrey to save his marriage, the damage had already been done. The feelings that came up stayed. putting up an invisible wall between them. Even though they were in public, they still smiled for the cameras. In secret, the weight of betrayal loomed big. There were more fights, and the two people who used to love each other seemed to be living different lives. While Don Jr. got more involved in politics, Vanessa got tired of the mental wall that stood between them and all the attention. By 2018, the problems were too big to ignore. After 12 years of marriage, Vanessa made up her mind and asked for a divorce without a fight. This meant there would be no public drama or messy legal fights. She wanted a break from the media chaos that was calm and clean. It was shockingly quiet during their divorce compared to many other high-profile splits. Vanessa decided to stay out of the spotlight to protect her kids' privacy above all else. Insiders said the split was about more than just the affair. It was about two people who had grown emotionally distant from each other because they had different lives and goals. Vanessa focused on making sure their kids had a good, quiet life while Don Jr. stayed in the public eye. Their marriage ended a story that began as a fairy tale. But this wasn't the end of the story, because as one chapter closed, another was already beginning: the stunning transformation after the divorce. While she was getting divorced, Vanessa Trump's life changed, grew, and she gained new strength. By the time 2025 came around, she was almost unrecognizable. At the opening of The President, everyone noticed her. The woman who had been in the background the whole time was gone. She was proud, tall, and sure of herself. Her fresh, glowing appearance caught my eye, but it was more than that. The way she carried herself really spoke to me. Vanessa was finally coming into her own. Her hair, which used to be natural and simple, now had a sleek, stylish look that went well with how she felt. Her body now showed that she was committed to health and wellness, even though she was still focused on having 5 kids. Still, her confidence was much more interesting than her new look, which showed that she had time to focus on herself. Vanessa Trump was clearly ready to shine on her own terms because every room she walked into was filled with peace and confidence. She had always put her family first. Her first priority was always being a good mother. To be the best mother after her split in 2018, Vanessa knew she had to take care of herself too. Her health and happiness became the most important things to her. Even though it wasn't easy, she traded in the stress of her old life for something more peaceful. When she started working out every day, she started to feel stronger and more energized. Vanessa changed how she lived and paid close attention to what she ate and how she felt. It was more than just how they looked. They also felt great from the inside out. Even so, the changes didn't stop in the kitchen or the gym. They were very deep inside her. Vanessa thought about herself as someone other than Mrs. Trump for the first time in a long time. It was important to her that she was her own person, not just the ex-wife of a famous businessman. She took charge of her life and chose what she was going to do, how she wanted to live, how she wanted others to see her, and who she wanted to be with. It gave me strength. She was no longer weighed down by what other people wanted. Instead, she was free to make her own way. One of the most interesting things about Vanessa's change was that she rekindled her artistic spark. Vanessa had a great track record before she married Don Jr. She fell in love with fashion on her own, and after the split, she decided to look into it again. She did more than just watch life go by. Vanessa's handbag company, Layette, went from being a side job to a big part of her life. Because she was so passionate about it, she turned it into a way to share her creativity and make money. Layette was more than just a business. It was Vanessa's new road and freedom. Vanessa wasn't holding back either when it came to clothes. It was no longer possible to just blend in with the background. She liked bright, bold colors and modern patterns that made her stand out in a crowd. All of the suits said, "I'm here and I'm in charge." No longer did she hide behind someone or something. With every look, she showed the world what kind of woman she was: strong, sure of herself, and stylish. Still, it wasn't just how things looked. Inside was where the real change happened. Vanessa learned how to put herself first, make her own happiness a top goal, and take charge of her life. Vanessa adopted a new way of life focused on expressing herself, whether it was by enjoying her freedom to choose, spending time with her kids, or working on her art projects. On her road, she wasn't trying to get revenge or show everyone everything. It wasn't about giving proof to make everyone happy. It was about getting back parts of herself that she had lost along the way. It was about getting back to the things that were most important to her, but had been put on hold for too long. Vanessa looked like she was full of new life, but the real change was happening on a very deep level. Everyone looked. She was becoming the woman she had always wanted to be. She was getting stronger, smarter, and more powerful than ever. The real magic was going on inside Vanessa, even though everyone was amazed at how she looked. Vanessa, in every way, was not just someone's mother or wife, she was herself. As she kept growing and changing, one thing became very clear. She was not going away anytime soon. But while Vanessa did well in her next chapter, things were changing in Don Jr.'s life in ways that no one saw coming. The role of independence in a post-divorce glow-up. When a big change happens in life, like a divorce, it can feel like everything is upside down. But once the dust settles, there's a chance to start fresh. This is where self-rediscovery comes in. It's like opening a new chapter in a book, where you get to find out who you really are, away from the old life you once knew. It's important to take this time for yourself, even if it feels a bit uncomfortable at first. After a divorce, letting go of old emotions and past memories can be tough. But once you let go, it opens up space for new dreams, new goals, and a whole new way of thinking. Instead of being stuck in the past, you can focus on yourself and what makes you happy. You can finally ask questions like, what do I really want for me? This space of self-discovery is key in transforming into someone you're proud of. Just like how we all go through different stages in life, there's a moment after something big happens, like a divorce, when you can have a kind of rebirth. It's a time to heal emotionally and physically, almost like starting with a clean slate. When you heal your heart and mind, it's amazing how it can show on the outside too. It's like planting a seed. If you take care of it, it'll grow and bloom into something beautiful. Healing emotionally helps to heal physically as well. It's like how when you feel strong on the inside, your outside shines with new energy. You might want to try new routines, exercise, eat healthier, or do things that make you feel good. These changes might seem small at first, but together, they build something big, a vibrant, renewed version of yourself. It's all about finding new habits that make you feel alive again and ready to take on the world. Think about someone like Vanessa. After her divorce, she took the time to focus on herself. She spent time rediscovering her passions, healing from the pain, and looking after her physical and emotional health. Through her journey, Vanessa showed that it's possible to rebuild yourself after something difficult. She didn't stay stuck in her past. She used it as a lesson to grow and move forward. Her journey became an inspiration to many. People saw how she embraced new beginnings, how she started taking better care of herself, and how she found new happiness. Seeing someone else go through a similar experience and come out stronger can be the push someone else needs to start their own journey. It reminds us all that no matter how hard things get, there is always a chance for a fresh start. And with time, healing, and a bit of courage, anyone can create a new version of themselves. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Click on the next video popping up on your screen for more amazing content.